Today we are talking about 1-point versus 2-point slings. Hey guys, my name is Dave Tim. Thank you very much for checking out this episode. Like I said before, we are talking about single point versus double point slings, and this question comes up quite often on our QA series where people will submit a question about it. It comes up in classes, I see it online, and the reality is, in my opinion, there's pros and cons to both, but overall, if you want the short version, the double point sling is the winner. But the single point sling is simple. So before we get into the two types of slings, I do have to give a shout out to TriggerCon because it is July 2018, which means at the end of this month, TriggerCon is going on in Bellevue, Washington. We are going to be there covering the event, highlighting all of the new and innovative products that are going to be released, plus visiting with all of our favorite manufacturers and suppliers of all the cool gear. So make sure you're following our channel and social media outlets for all the updates on TriggerCon 2018. Plus, we're going to be doing some live coverage from the show as well, covering the Golden Trigger, as well as checking in here and there throughout the event. So make sure you follow us. If you can attend the event, even better. It is open to the public, and it is July 26th through the 29th, 2018 in Bellevue, Washington. You can do a Google search for TriggerCon for more information. We look forward to seeing you there. So this sling question. Now technically there is three types of slings. There is a single point sling, which as the name implies, attaches to a single point on the rifle. There's a 2-point sling, which as the name implies, attaches to 2 points of the rifle, kind of a front and back. Now there is another type of sling called a 3-point sling on the market, which we're not going to talk about because basically it's almost kind of extinct. But the reality is it's very similar to a 2-point sling, except for it has a third strap that kind of connects it. The reality is with a 3-point sling, they are kind of complicated. They don't really transition to off-shoulder shooting very well unless they had some sort of a release. They were really popular back in the MP5 era days. Wilderness made a very popular 3-point sling that was used for a long time, and the reality is we've just as an industry have kind of simplified it with the 2-point sling. Now, why would you choose one versus the other? Well, let's talk about the single point sling first. Let me throw this on a rifle. The single point sling is very simple, and they generally attach to the rear of the receiver as shown here. Now there are some other people that have done some things where they've modded them to the stocks and they've kind of had a hook and things like that, but generally the most popular spot that you will see a single point sling attach is going to be right here. Now the advantages of a single point sling, like I said, it is simple. All it takes is to put the sling around your head, insert an arm, and then it basically would wrap around like so. Now the advantage of it is you can use your left arm, you can use your right arm, and it would still function in essence the same way. Now here's some of the simplicity with the sling. I'll actually just leave it here for now because it really doesn't matter. I can easily have it hang here. I can have hands free. The downside is it doesn't really have much control. I don't have a way to cinch it down, and most guys who have been shooting single point slings, they'll do a transition, they'll let the gun go just once, and that's a self-correcting error. You'll generally never do that again. But you can easily shoot, you can switch shoulders if you need to, you can transition. It's simple, you don't have to worry about it. If you have a pool of guns that you want absolute simplicity, so you don't have to worry about if a right-handed shooter, a left-handed shooter grabs the gun or whatever, this could be the way to go because it doesn't matter, again, if they throw on a head and they put it through with their left arm as I'm doing, if they're a right-handed shooter or a left-handed shooter. So that's the simplicity of a single point sling. It is super simple, you can't mess it up. Even if you put it in the wrong arm, the wrong shoulder, you can still shoot whatever you need to do. But the downside is, like I said, it wiggles, there's no control. If you wanted to have it some sort of retention and capture to your body, there was certain companies that would make things that would go to your vest or belt where you'd kind of attach the rifle to that. But ultimately, I don't like the single point sling because of its limitations. I like the simplicity, but I just don't like it because of its limitations. So let me throw the 2-point sling on and we'll talk about that. The 2-point sling attaches somewhere on the rear, generally on the stock, although some users prefer to actually use an end plate and attach the rear mounting surface there. And then the front is generally going to be somewhere on the handguard, and depending on where is personal preference. And honestly, there's some pros and cons, which we'll talk about here in a second. But we have 2 points of contact to the rifle, hence 2-point sling or a double point sling. Now, what's great about this, again, head, reaction side arm, and now the gun hangs. I can transition, I can do whatever, I can come up and shoot. Now, if I wanted to shoot off shoulder, one could just simply switch shoulders. And if you have enough slack, you can still do what you need to do. Or with most of the quick adjust slings on the market, you can easily let out some slack, you can take in some slack or whatever. The other option is just, again, to keep it simple. If you know you're going to be switching shoulders, if that's your shooting style, that's your tactic, all you have to do is pop out your arm, and now you basically have a single point sling. You can move it back and forth as you need. So very simple, very easy to do. In fact, I know a lot of real world operators who basically just throw their sling around their neck like so, because it gives them that mobility. And then if they do need to do some work, they put their arm back through and they can cinch it up. Now, generally when I run the rifle, I will run it like this, because this gives me enough options to use the rifle as I need to. If I needed to transition to a handgun, I could. If I needed to do something with my hands, all I have to do is take control of the rifle, bring it in, and I can easily grab this tab, cinch the rifle nice and tight, and it's held to my body. I can now go in hands-on, apply handcuffs, render aid, deal with the task at hand if I need to. Again, another plus with the 2-point sling is if I knew that my rifle using time was over, I can very easily switch arms, put the rifle behind, and again, cinch it up. And now I basically have the rifle nice and tight and controlled against my body. Again, this allows me to go hands-on. I could render aid, I could apply handcuffs, I could communicate. You know, basically whatever I needed to do, I have the options of doing it with the 2-point sling. Now, the other big advantage that I don't think a lot of people take advantage of enough, in my opinion, when shooting with a 2-point sling is that you can use it as a hasty support. Now, I grew up with bullseye and marksman discipline shooting when I was younger in the NRA junior program, and shooting with a cuff and a sling was how I was raised. So as I got into more of the tactical type shooting, I started to realize there's still an application for that. So again, having a good 2-point sling that you can adjust, or having multiple QD mounting surfaces on your rifle so you can take advantage of different things, is a plus. So I'll just kind of turn this way so you guys can see. Now here, I basically have my support hand, my fire control hand, my shoulder, I have a little bit of a cheek weld. So I do have several points of contact with the rifle, but I'm still holding all the weight of the rifle. Now, what's nice is I can just tighten that slack up a little bit. I can take my support arm, come in the sling, wrap it around, and then by simply lowering this arm here, I'm using the sling, as you guys can see right here, as support. The rifle feels a little bit lighter, it's held into my shoulder tighter, and I can hold my sight more steady. So I can use this as a support as well. And that, again, is a huge advantage of a 2-point sling that you don't get with a single point sling. So I hope this video helped answer some of the common questions that I get about single point versus 2-point sling. And I think the advantage is obvious. If it's going to be your rifle that is always going to be used by you, 2-point sling all the way. If you do have to make considerations for a pool gun, and this is going to be their primary weapon system, they're not going to be worrying about transition, they're not going to be worrying about supporting or whatever, maybe the single point sling may be an option for your pool or fleet or issue guns or whatever. Now again, this is just my opinion. You are entitled to your own opinion, and whatever works best for you, rock on. Now, there are also other options, hybrid slings out there that can convert from a 2-point to a single point. So if you want that fast transition, that ease of mobility, you can easily detach a QD socket and kind of attach it to itself, and it becomes a hasty single point sling, but then you can convert it back, and those are cool options too. So I hope, again, this video was helpful and it answered some of the questions that you have regarding slings. Please leave a comment in the section below if you have any more questions or your feedback. And as always, we do have a monthly QA series where we answer your questions every month. Go ahead and sound off in the comment section below, or you can shoot us an email at the email address shown at the bottom of your screen. That is theqa@gunsandtactics.com. And again, send those questions. We answer them at the end of the month, and plus one lucky question asker gets a prize thanks to our sponsor. Make sure you're following us on social media, like and subscribe, and please hit that share button so we can get the word out about our content so we can continue to grow and deliver good videos that you want to see. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.